Superoxide dismutase is not only an antioxidant, but thanks to its antioxidant activity, it will also regulate the immune response. How does superoxide dismutase regulate immune response? Here we have the explanation. In case of infection or infectious disease, there is an activation of macrophages, and the macrophages are producing, among other pro-inflammatory cytokines, tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF alpha, which is leading to an increase of free radicals. And on the other hand, there is also an increased production of superoxide dismutase thanks to the action to the stimulation by the macrophage, and on the contrary, this increased superoxide dismutase will decrease free radicals, and then we can avoid oxidative stress, and then we can regulate the proper oxidative balance. This paper is also detailing how superoxide dismutase may favor the antiviral innate immune response, and this is by scavenging ROS, free radicals. And hence, superoxide dismutase is a crucial regulator of antiviral signaling, and depletion of superoxide dismutase, on the contrary, results in enhanced viral replication. And you see that besides its antioxidant activity, and maybe thanks to it, superoxide dismutase has a very important role in innate immune response. This is another demonstration that antioxidant treatment may regulate immune response during acute viral infection. In this case, mice were infected with lymphocytic choriomeningitis virus and treated with superoxide dismutase mimetic during 8 days, from the time of infection to the 8th day. And on day 8, it was the peak of the infection. It was observed that virus-specific IgM and IgG antibody secreting cells were decreased 22 and 457-fold compared to non-treated animals. That's really a great result. It's a spectacular result. And in addition to this decrease in the number of cells, the treatment decreased the number of functional virus-specific CD4 plus T cells. And really, SOD could be antiviral? This paper is interesting because it was published in 1997, and this was the golden age of research against HIV. And this paper is demonstrating that superoxide dismutase was able to inhibit the replication of this virus of human immunodeficiency. Here it was demonstrated that superoxide dismutase administered by aerosol was able to inhibit respiratory syncytial virus infection in rats. Not in humans, but in rats. The previous paper was reporting an interesting property of superoxide dismutase in the regulation of innate immunity, but not explaining it. And in this paper, we have this explanation. Here it is. When the organism is infected by a virus, by a bacteria, there will be activation of toll-like receptors. And as a consequence, activation of inflammasome and production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, all the list of interleukins, TNF-alpha, among others, and this will lead to the activation of innate immune system. And as a consequence of pro-inflammatory cascade, we'll have production of free radicals. And these free radicals will permit post-translational modifications of biomolecules, which will impact again the toll-like receptors, and also these free radicals will directly act on inflammasome activation. Then there is like a loop, like a vicious circle, and all of this is due to this oxidative stress. And superoxide dismutase will work at this level, and by scavenging the free radicals, it will avoid this loop and avoid this vicious circle. Here in this paper, it was reported that antioxidants were potential antiviral agents in the case of infection by encephalitis virus, Japanese encephalitis virus. On the left, you can see that the virus is impacting the cell and mitochondria to produce free radicals. And these free radicals will activate the pro-inflammatory cascade through the cytokines, and then this pro-inflammatory cascade will impact the nucleus and will permit the replication of the virus. On the right, you see that administration of antioxidants, and especially enzymatic antioxidants and especially superoxide dismutase, will permit to scavenge these free radicals and then to avoid excess pro-inflammatory cascade, and then avoid stimulation of the nucleus and replication of the virus. And now, which implications and which consequences may it have in COVID-19 infection? The mechanism of COVID-19 infection is quite simple and quite classical. It's similar to any viral infection, and by the production of free radicals of reactive oxygen species causing oxidative stress. And if nothing is regulating the oxidative stress, we are reaching the cytokine storm that we talked about, and with all the danger of finishing with acute respiratory distress syndrome, and with all the danger it may mean for the patients. What happens in case of administration of antioxidants? In a classical way, the antioxidants will scavenge free radicals and avoid, or at least reduce oxidative stress, and then avoid cytokine storm and avoid to reach the last and worst issue, which would be acute respiratory distress syndrome. COVID-19 is obviously a new entity, and we have much to learn about it. But on the contrary, acute respiratory distress syndrome is a well-known syndrome by lung specialists, and for a long time it was published that ROS signaling was very important in the pathogenesis of this syndrome, and that the role of antioxidant was also crucial. As you can observe, there is quite a lot of publications about this matter. Another one? One more? Now, a very recent paper about the recommendation of an antioxidative therapy for improving not only lung injuries, but also cardiac injuries in critically ill COVID-19 infected patients. Very important, CDC, the Center for Disease Control, based in Atlanta in the United States, and which is heading the fight against infectious disease in the world, was recommending a few days ago that it should be prescribed antioxidants not only for the prevention of acute respiratory distress syndrome, but also for reducing the level of inflammation, reducing the level of injuries in patients with COVID-19. Now, last but not least, our product, SODERMIX Pills. It features oral superoxide dismutase. And this enzyme is presented under gastro-resistant tablets with enteric coating. And in this way, it cannot disintegrate in the stomach. Of course, if you are administering normal tablets, any kind of common tablet with superoxide dismutase, it will not be useful because superoxide dismutase is sensible to the gastric juice and it would be destroyed in the stomach. On the contrary, this special galenic form permits that the whole SOD content reaches the gut and be absorbed integrally in the gut. Each tablet is containing 250 international units of superoxide dismutase, and importantly, this product is suitable for celiacs as it doesn't contain gluten. As a conclusion, I would tell that this time of pandemic of COVID-19 would be a unique opportunity for SODERMIX Pills, because as well as prevention of infection of the disease, it can relieve in infected patients the symptoms of the disease and avoid the last steps that are the most dangerous for the patients and that can lead to his death.